Hey, what's up? Kalen here, and welcome to yesterday's Tweets Today, number 11. 11th day in a row doing daily live streams and having a good time with it. So today, the topics that we have lined up are you're doing LinkedIn messages wrong, AI reading privacy policies, a hot new Magento 2 certified professional developer on the market, A/B testing culture guiding product, Makerpad having a place to submit ideas for no-code implementation of different web app ideas, and lastly, a video by Rebecca Brockton that I wanted to talk about, which I'm calling "Who's They? I'm They." Well, she said that, but I'm going to talk about that. All right, here we go. First up, you're doing LinkedIn wrong. So I saw a tweet yesterday from my buddy Ignacio, and he was like, actually, let me pull this up. Ignacio Riesco, you should check him out. 80%, more than 80% of LinkedIn inbox messages say basically, "Hi, I'm based in the US. I work in the same industry as you. I have a best-in-class team. I have 5 links with samples. Our rate is $25 an hour. I want to talk to you to discuss business." So, I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, and the 5 links thing is like these it's a very simple tweak. This is the thing about it, is that it's really not that hard, and I'm giving away my juicy secrets here on how to do LinkedIn effectively. But instead of sending the super long email, so a little context. So you're on LinkedIn, you connect with someone, they connect back, and then you send them a message after the fact, right? Instead of sending this massive email with like 8 paragraphs and the 5 links, the links is the worst part. There's something about sending somebody a link. When I send messages, I don't include a link in the first message. Just don't do it. Just say no to links. And just keep it short and sweet. Hey, how's it going at your company? Hey, I did this. Can I share it with you? Hey, would you like to talk about X? Make it one small 3-line paragraph. That's the secret. That's the trick. That's the hack. And ultimately, it's about just being sort of like more human in your communication. So yeah, if you're not, if you're doing this, you're doing LinkedIn wrong. And if you're doing that, you're probably not watching this video. So you're never going to learn. And I don't know what to say. All right. Next up, AI reading privacy policies. I was trying to figure out if my little coffee sip in between topics, if it's going to be completely obnoxious or if it'll be kind of hilarious. So I'm playing with that a little bit here. See how it goes. All right. AI reading privacy policies. So I saw this on Product Hunt. How many of you actually read privacy policies? Here's an AI that reads important parts of policies to you. And then the product is called, I think it's called Guard. It's called Guard. And it's kind of cool. And so then I tweeted, super interesting. So much of the time we think of AI as taking our privacy away, but this is a perfect example of how AI is a tool that will be used on both sides of any, quote, power struggle. And what I meant by that's a weirdly worded tweet, but what I meant by that is like so much of the time we think of AI, big data, we think of companies that are sort of encroaching on our privacy, and things like that, building out these insanely complicated ad delivery systems and stuff to just soak every last dollar out of us, every last bit of our attention and things like that. And then you think about like, is AI going to take over the world, kind of a thing. And the thing is that AI is a tool. So AI, it's not a self-determining robot that's going to like have its own, take over the world. It's not something that only the, advertising companies use, quote, against us or to leverage consumers. But it's a tool that can be used by anybody, right? So this is an example of where AI can be used to help the consumer, right? Because nobody reads privacy policies, and that's never going to change. Like as much as it's becoming, privacy is more and more of a concern for people, nobody's going to read. I know one guy who actually would read every terms and conditions he agreed to. One guy in the history of my life. And so nobody's going to actually do that, right? But here's a tool that can can help you to do that better, right? So I don't know exactly how it works, but I think it goes through and it probably looks for common, uh, you know, patterns in privacy policies and common types of things and whatnot. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that's a pretty interesting development. All right, next up, hot new candidate, M2 professional certified developer. So this is kind of like a Commerce Hero ad. If you didn't realize that, I'm very cleverly injecting into the middle of the content. But I just got a ping from somebody who is available. They are inside the U.S. That's a weird way to say it. In the U.S., they moved to the U.S. recently. They've got some solid experience with an agent with a previous agency that I've seen other really solid developers come out of that we've actually placed. I think one before with a really good U.S. agency, and so this individual has 3 certifications. They've got M1. Not unlike myself, I've got that old M1 cert. I need to get that up on the wall. I used to have that up on my wall somewhere. And then they've got M2 certified associate and professional. M2 certified professional is the gold standard currently. Whenever I see somebody that has that, I'm like, bingo, because it's hard. I know a lot of like smart people that have tried to pass it and not passed. So that's how I know it's hard to get. So anyways, interesting cat here. And if you're looking for a developer, you might want to get in touch. I'll have a link. I'll just ping me somewhere, LinkedIn or something like that. I'll put a link. I need to get a link up somewhere to his or her profile. Not going to leak any details here. Okay, next up, A/B testing culture guiding product is a clear signal the company's out of new ideas. So this tweet comes to you courtesy of Brian Norgard, entrepreneur, ex-CPO of Tinder, investor in SpaceX, Lyft, AngelList. I mean, dude's a heavy CoinMine, dude's a heavy hitter. Anyways, he has a lot of cool insights on product and stuff like that. And so the tweet is, A/B testing culture guiding product is a clear signal the company is out of new ideas. So this is interesting because like I always am fascinated by A/B testing and stuff like that, and what, like, it's always fun to go to a talk and to learn about different A/B tests of like specific things that worked or didn't work. Like it's cool. Like there's something kind of magical about being able to run this test and then automatically you find out which of two things is better. Like there's something that's just so cool. I've always been so like fascinated with A/B testing, and yet at the same time, like all of the I do think that this is true, like in the sense that like all of the really interesting like new products, new interfaces, like things that become really useful and fun to use, or all the innovation. Like innovation doesn't come at A/B testing. I don't know if that's a true statement or not. I think it is, but like when it's like the quote, the thing Steve Jobs said, like I don't know exactly what he said, but like he didn't ask. If he had asked customers what they wanted and give it to them, he would have given them something. But instead, he created the iPhone. Like nobody knew they wanted the iPhone, and it wouldn't have showed up in an A/B test, right? There was innovation there, and so I think there's an interesting tension here. I've been reading. There was another post I saw recently about A/B testing. Someone who had done. I got to pull that up. A ton of A/B testing, and that what they ended up concluding was that unless you have data really at a certain scale, and even if you do, there's a lot of ways in which your A/B testing wins can get backed out, can get reverted by the board of the company. Just like a lot of ways in which it doesn't work out the way it's supposed to on paper, kind of a thing. So I thought that was interesting. Obviously, I'm not like an A/B testing pro or anything like that, but that was interesting to check out. Okay, next up, Makerpad has a place to submit ideas and get responses with suggested tools or a stack. So this is cool. This Makerpad is a community created by Ben Tossell, and I saw a tweet. I think I talked about his tweet on a couple days ago on a stream. But I'm just realizing, did I mess up the title on this thing? Does it still say quick test? Huh. Oh yeah, I messed up the title. Great. That's not ideal. I keep messing up these periscopes. All right. I didn't put out the right tweet for this. Okay. So he had put out a tweet the other day where he said, "Hey, ask me questions on things you'd like to build, and I'll give you a suggestion for a way to do it with no code." So Makerpad is like a no-code community. And so the tweet went viral, got tons of feedback. Literally the next day, he turned that into a piece of functionality on the site, on Makerpad, where pretty straightforward. You just submit an idea. So I'm going to just show this on the screen real quick if you can see that. You just submit an idea, and then there's a status on the idea. I submitted one, which was, I'll talk about that in a sec. You submit an idea, it has a status, so it's either open or it's answered or whatever, and then you click into it, and then he responds with, a suggestion. So, for example, first one on the list, a personal SMS-based assistant/reminder system. And then boom, he answers it. You could add drafts to something like a Google Sheet and use Zapier to push those messages. Otherwise, and then he links up tools to look at, Google Sheets and Zapier, related tutorials. So this is such a smart growth hack right here. It's like a really smart way to turn that tweet thread into a piece of functionality where that can scale, right? Where people can ask questions and you can have a nice list of everything, a nice resource for people that are looking for information. Now, the one critique I'm going to make here is that while it is very powerful, all the specific types of ideas, there's everything in here. Marketplace, I want a directory with multiple filters, a smart home estimation tool, chat roulette with scheduled booking, company-wide wiki. There's tons and a really variety and diversity of ideas here with suggestions. My question was essentially how to build an email forwarding messaging system, which is something I sort of custom rolled my own for Commerce Hero, and there's there's issues with it. So I'm always thinking about should I redo it, things like that. What would be a clean way to redo it? I did get an answer, which was cool. But the only critique I'll make is that some of these answers, and obviously Ben he's got tons of these things coming in, so he's got a lot of stuff he's responding to. But the answer was a little light on details. The answer was basically I think that there's a way to do. Here we go. The answer was Zapier has their own emailing service you may be able to use. Add Airtable as a middle step so messages get sent to that and from that. So that was a cool suggestion. Definitely something I should look into if I want to get deeper into this. But it's what does that mean? Zapier has their own emailing service. Does that mean I can have it under my own domain, which would be important in this case and things like that? So, yeah, if these answers were rock solid, here's exactly how to implement. Because I think the thing I think about with the no code stuff is that big picture, it's fascinating. There's definitely some really interesting stuff you can do with no code tools. But the devil's in the details in terms of implementing things. And Zapier is really neat. A lot of the time when I look into Zapier and I try to get something implemented, I'm like, oh, they don't have trigger that I need for this particular use case. So you're kind of blocked. So I think the devil's in the details with execution on these. That was what blew me away about the one I talked about, I think yesterday or the day before, Dualito, which is just so polished. It's like a marketplace for finding custom prefab homes, like tiny homes kind of a thing. And it was just so polished. That was what like blew me away about that was just how polished it was. And I think that if you can implement all of these things in a really polished way and you can get all the details right, that's going to be pretty wild. So that's really cool to see. Okay, last up, who is they? So Rebecca Brockton posted a preeminent YouTuber, Rebecca Brockton, preeminent YouTuber and Magento master, posted a video, posted a video to YouTube recently, which was really cool to see because her YouTube videos are awesome and insightful and hilarious. And if you haven't seen her videos, they're just great. So it was good to see her pop another video out there. And what she talked about was a couple of things. The title is "Looking After the Llamas and Going Vegan," and actually. She hashtagged the Mage Talk Weight Loss Challenge, which I appreciate. And she had mentioned on Twitter that she'd also lost some weight and was feeling great and is looking good. And so I think that's really cool because we're trying to get that going, the weight loss challenge, and just try to encourage everybody to get healthy and whatnot. So that was cool. But what really stuck out to me about this video was she talked about why she decided to go vegan. And what I really liked, she was saying in there that, she was, thinking about, hearing about, company X, Y, and Z that decided to do something that was more sustainable or more ethical, and then she said to herself, well, yeah, they should do that. And that's good. They should do that. That's good that they did that because they should do that. And then when there's companies that don't do things that are ethical, or you're critiquing whether or not something is the right way to do things, it's like, well, they should do more of this. And then she said that she thought to herself, well, who's they? Well, who's they? Like, it's so easy to critique the they, right? And then she said, I'm they, with an expletive mixed in there, but we got to keep this G rated. But it was a powerful thing in there, and it really stuck with me. Is like just that, like, it's so easy to criticize the other, but then like like looking at yourself, what can you do? So then from there, she's like, well, what can I do to live in a way that's more sustainable and stuff. And that's where she talked about going vegan and stuff, which is really cool. And congrats to her on that. And then the video was hilarious because her dogs were playing with her llamas. If you don't know about llamas, you have not been in the Magento community very long, which is fine, but you got to learn about the llamas. It's basically the top swag in the Magento community are the llamas. So anyways, that was really cool to see. And I think that's all I got for today. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow.